So I'm in San Francisco this week doing some work. Actually, my hotel is just right across the bay from the San Francisco airport. You can see an airplane coming in for landing there right behind me. It's really quite interesting to me just to watch the number of airplanes that come in and out of this airport all day long. And they just had a little news. I just saw a thing on the news where they were talking about the terrible accident that happened, I think, about 4 years ago with Asiana Air. And it's just quite interesting to me how they just continue to blame people. The most recent one that I saw was actually blaming the pilots for not deploying the rafts for them to slide down and get out of the airplane quick enough. It was, I think it was like a retired aviation safety guy or something that was talking about it on the news. And then they were also blaming the flight attendants for not gathering everybody up and getting them all in one group, away from the airplane, gathered up. They were criticizing the first responders for how they fought the fire and how they ran over there's a terrible part of it. One of the people that had survived the fire, the crash landing had got struck by a vehicle and killed. And then they were talking about how they needed to do more training. So I got to thinking about that, and I'm like, okay, I was a volunteer firefighter for years. I bet you I've actually fought more actual fires than a lot of the firefighters at these airports. Not because they're not way better than me. They know way more than I do. But there's just not a lot of commercial airline planes catching fire. So they don't have tons and tons of experience like house fires. And so blaming them for their response and saying they need more training, and blaming the flight attendants, this one just blows my mind, blaming the flight attendants for not doing a better job of corralling people. They just went through the wreck as well. At least when I was a firefighter and an emergency responder, we were coming to the scene. But they were the scene. They were in it. They were in the plane as it slammed into the ground and broke the tail off. And they're in shock just like everybody else is. So expecting them to somehow be just amazing, miraculous first responders because they've had some training in the past when they went through flight attendant school just seems silly to me. I say kudos to everybody that did everything they could to try to save as many as they could. I just don't see where blaming first responders or blaming flight attendants or pilots is going to fix this or make it any better. I also don't know that training is going to help that much, because I don't know how you train to actually be able to survive a crash and then properly respond immediately and not have any delays in your decision making. It's just not how the human operates. So my little piece to this story is hats off to everybody, the responders, the pilots, the flight attendants, everybody that did everything they could to save as many people as they could and to minimize the damage from this terrible accident. And let's just stop blaming people for stuff. I just can't figure out how it fixes anything.